Let's take our monthly look at the wool market. Sometimes I'm afraid to almost have this conversation, but here's the good news. The market is on the way up. To tell us a wee bit more about it, the GM of wool for PGG Wrightson, his name is Grant Edwards. And Grant, you're just back, before we talk about wool, from a personal holiday in China. Fascinating country. Did you take a couple of bales of strong wool in your hand luggage to flog off while you were over there to do God's work for the New Zealand wool industry?
Didn't necessarily get involved directly in the wool, Jamie. There was 6 couples went over, and we had a good look around Xi'an and Beijing, Shanghai, but certainly got into the countryside as well in China. It was a personal trip. One of the guys that organised it actually that we went over with, he spends a lot of time there, and it was a real eye-opener as to some of the advancements that are happening in China. You know, if you get into the backcountry, sure, it's still, largely undeveloped as far as technology goes, but certainly really developed. They turn over every side of ground, the Chinese do, and but just some of the things that they're doing with their infrastructure, their forward planning, in some parts it's a bit of an embarrassment, to be honest with you, Jamie. You know, when we look at our roading compared with Chinese roading in those bigger cities, we're miles behind.
Yeah, they don't get held up in things like resource management acts. They just get on and do it. They build apartment buildings in the matter of days. Anyhow, let's talk about the wool industry. Can we rebuild that, Grant Edwards?
We're seeing it's trending up, Jamie, and it's good to see. You know, we're getting a number of better wools coming on the market now. Some of those wools around that Christmas period were prone to yellowing and colouring in the crossbred sense. But now we're seeing some better wools coming in, which is helping the market, and I think we're seeing it trending upwards. We've seen a 10% increase over the last month, which is certainly positive, and it's heading in the right direction.
Is this just a typical end-of-season lift in the wool market as volumes drop off?
No, I don't think so, Jamie. There's a lot of wool coming on the market. We've just gone through our, pre-tupping shearing patterns. We're now getting into pre-lamb. As I say, there's a lot of wool out there. I don't think that's happening. I think we've seen where the market's bottomed out, and we're seeing a recovery, albeit slow.
Hey, it's April the 26th, one day after Anzac Day, and we're talking about pre-lamb shearing. Wow.
Yes, it gets earlier and earlier, Jamie. Certainly, the North Island, of course, they shear a bit earlier up there compared with what we do down here in the south. But farmers now, they farm towards it. They get that bank of feed, get that wool off early. Don't get into the issues of cast sheep. Don't get into the issues of trying to shear too close to lambing when the weather can affect them. So historically we've seen clear shearing patterns at different times of the year. Now largely we see shearing all year round.
All right, Grant Edwards, thank you very much for your time today on The Country. I know you've just come back also from a business trip to Australia. You're never at home, and we're going to chat next month about some of the stuff Australia's doing in their wool industry that maybe we could have a look at doing here, and particularly a wool levy. There's a question for you to ponder over the next 4 weeks, Grant, whether we need one of those. Thanks for your time. Always appreciate it here on The Country, and I'm so glad to hear the wool market is on the way up.
Yeah, thanks, Jamie, and good afternoon to all your listeners.